This is Late Night Health. This is the radio show that cares about the most important part of your life, your health. Hi, I'm Mark Allen, and along with the insane Daryl Wayne, during the next 2 hours, we're going to take a look at a wide variety of topics that touch each and every one of us and our families. During Hour 2, for example, Robert Clancy will be joining us. He's the author of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Soul. And we'll be talking with Robert. We'll also be talking about an update with the Zika virus with Dr. Dana Cohen from New York City. And this hour, we're going to talk about hearing and hearing loss as it affects Alzheimer's and other dementia. We go to Chicago, one of my favorite cities on the planet, and we speak with Sreekant Cherukuri, Dr. Cherukuri. And Doctor, welcome to Late Night Health.
Thank you for having me.
Your practice, you're a hearing doc, basically, are you not?
Well, I'm an ear, nose, and throat surgeon, which is the medical entryway for people with hearing loss. A hearing doctor may refer to a doctor of audiology, which does testing and other balanced evaluations of people with hearing loss. So I'm in the physician category,
gotcha.
Not the audiologist category.
So what happens is the audiologist may do a test, and then you examine it, and the test results, and a patient, and maybe there are surgical or other options available.
Yeah, often it works a different way. The patient will go to their primary care doctor and say, I'm having trouble hearing, or my, one ear is worse than the other. And then they'll come to me, and then I will evaluate them and order a hearing test that the audiologist and I interpret together. On occasion, we do get referrals from audiologists as well, but it's usually the other way around.
Hearing to me is obviously important. It's how we communicate. I mean, as humans, it's what sets us apart from animals. I mean, animals obviously hear, but without that hearing, it is very difficult for most of us to communicate.
I would agree with that. And, that's of all the senses we have, that is the interpersonal sense. And, one old saying that Helen Keller used to say, who was both blind and deaf, and she said, blindness robs you from things, but deafness robs you from people. And you cannot interact properly with other people with hearing problems.
As we age in America, as America turns grayer and grayer, I think there are more than 10,000 people a day that are turning, baby boomers reaching 60 or 65 every single day. And you think of all the music that you've heard and standing next to, 12-foot tall speakers cranked to the max, listening to music at high levels, it has to affect your hearing, does it not?
You are correct. And if we go back a little bit of time, we know that a lot of skin cancer and sun damage is a result of exposure years ago and lack of knowledge, medical knowledge in that area. The same can be said for hearing. We exposed our ears to a lot of noise over our time, either in the workplace, such as factories, maybe due to military or other recreational gun use, or loud music, like you said, from either rock concerts. And now we're seeing in the younger population, a number of studies have shown an increase in hearing loss in teenagers and 20-year-old people due to the iPod and the loud noise that's going directly into ear.
I've got to ask, are you a dad?
I am. And
how many children?
I have 2 boys, age 10 and 7.
And they're not allowed to use iPads or iPods, are they?
They don't really listen to music with headphones. That's correct. It's not a matter of us saying no, but they haven't asked. And if they did, I would use a very specific type of headphone that has a volume limiter in it, and that keeps sound at a safe level.
And well, in a couple of years, they'll be more into music too.
Yeah,
Probably.
You're right.
Right.
But I will certainly be involved in the headphone choice.
Oh, absolutely. The headphones that come with iPhones, iPads, etc., and the Android products as well, and MP3 players, are they not healthy?
Well, it's not the headphone per se. If you remember back, and I think a lot of your listeners will remember, 20, 30 years ago, we'd have either a cassette Walkman or a CD Discman that ran on 2 AA batteries.
Absolutely.
Had wire and foam headphones that didn't get that loud, and the batteries would die after 6 or 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, with the technology advances, the batteries are rechargeable, so they last all day, every day. And the sound output is even loud as a rock concert, and louder than a jackhammer, louder than a lot of sounds that these kids and young adults can be piping into their ears. And nowadays, the new headphones actually go into the canal, so the sound is much closer to the eardrum and hearing apparatus, and potentially much more dangerous. The sad part of all this is the one preventable but irreversible type of hearing loss is noise-related hearing loss. So once you lose it, it's gone.
End of story.
End of story. There's no current way to regenerate hearing once it's gone, and it's a really sad thing.
We're going to relate the hearing loss and dementia and create a link between dementia and Alzheimer's, for example. But I wanted to just clarify a couple of things about hearing loss. We've done some programs on it in the past. I have said that really that even though the technology is now digital, that the fact is that as you're losing your hearing, the nerves are dying that connect the hearing apparatus, your ear, to the brain, and what we're trying to do is force more sound down that nerve path. Am I correct?
That's correct. Hearing loss is a very gradual, often invisible condition. And often it creeps up over 5 to 7 years, and the person with it is often the last to recognize it because they either can make up some of the deficit with context clues such as lip reading or sentence context, but the person that's being asked to repeat, such as a family member or a coworker, is always the earlier one or the first one to identify that the person has trouble hearing.
And that's why people, will say to dads, because I think men lose their hearing a little bit more often than women, Dad, the TV, turn it down. I know that's what's happened in my house.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a very subtle onset, and there's a fair amount of denial, as well as stigma. And then, I'm hoping that this conversation and your listeners can understand the importance of hearing loss and really the danger of delaying treatment.
And we're also going to spend some time, we're going to mention the fact that you have created a whole line of inexpensive hearing aids. We'll probably do this again in a few weeks, MDHearingAid, and you can go to MDHearingAid.com for more information. Rather than spending $6,000 on hearing aids, these are in the hundreds of dollar range, which is affordable to most people. We'll talk about that a little bit now, but I really want to talk about the mental isolation that happens when you lose your hearing, and it's significant, is it not?
Absolutely. So a little bit, if I may, just talk about what's going on and what our research is showing us, the link between hearing loss and possible dementia.
Sure.
We hear with our ears, but we require the brain to interpret the sound so they can make sense of what we're hearing and we can understand it. And as we get hearing loss, the hair cells in the inner ear are damaged, and they can't transmit sound signals to the brain as effectively. And so you can imagine, as the brain is deprived of hearing these auditory signals, it over time will forget how to understand speech, much like your muscles look weak when you start using them. And we have found in medical research that it appears that the brain loses the ability to process sound effectively if we wait too long. And so the danger here that I really want to illustrate is a lot of people associate hearing loss with getting older, such as arthritis and some other things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. It is the third most common chronic condition of age-related adulthood. But the critical thing here is we have a treatment for it that can actually stave off and really help prevent some of these progressions due to our dementia.
As somebody ages, I've been told if you think you have a hearing problem, go in earlier than later, which is exactly what you're saying. And I went in, and let's just say that I'm somewhere north of 50. No comments, Daryl. And when I went
like
in,
the North Pole.
Well, yes, it so far north, I'm at the South Pole. But I went in and I must have lowered the demographic range by 30 years at least, and we'll talk about that coming up. Our guest, Dr. Sreekant Cherukuri, he is an ENT specialist in Chicago, and we're talking about the link between Alzheimer's and hearing loss. This is Late Night Health. I'm Mark Allen. Join us at latenighthealth.com. We'll have a picture of the doctor up there and a link to his website for more information as well. Don't go away. More coming up as Late Night Health continues.
The show continues in a moment.
If you or someone you love suffers from drug addiction, now is the time to utilize your private health insurance PPO plan. If eligible, receive up to $30,000 or more in substance abuse benefits with low or no out-of-pocket cost. We are the National Treatment Network, the premier drug and alcohol treatment referral service operating 24/7. We help connect you with facilities nationwide that accepts PPO private health insurance for substance abuse. If you have PPO substance abuse coverage and you need immediate admittance to a medical detox or residential rehab treatment center, call us now. Call our live referral helpline today. The call is free. This program is not available to Medicare or Medicaid customers.
Call 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. That's 800-296-1252.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate a lower tax bill. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will fight for you using industry secrets that can stop any IRS actions, eliminate penalties and interest, and reduce your past tax bill so you pay the IRS less. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor now for a free IRS audit emergency review.
800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. That's 800-663-5107.